TV Comic Chat. Thanks for tuning in.
I had this great fear that moment because I started singing and you normally sing straight away after me, Ben, to follow on the song, but you froze in the middle. And I thought, oh my God, even at the beginning of this recording, you're going to be frozen. It was a panic moment. Welcome, everybody, to the Nerd. Oh, I stumped all over my opening. Well, welcome, everybody, to the NerdSchatting podcast. My name is Nate, and as you can tell from the rude awakening of this podcast, I am with two of my very, very good friends. That's right, Ben. You hang your head in shame because you can't edit this out now. I'm here with Ben and JB. Good evening, chaps. How are you both?
Good evening, Nathan. I'm fine. Good evening, James. How are you doing?
To both of you, I'm delightfully happy.
Excellent. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So we're the Nerds Chatting. We chat about all things nerdy. Movies, TV shows, comic books, sometimes video games, other times other nerdy things. I can't think of anything right now.
Board
games.
Bird
nerd. I like birds. Yeah, animals. Yeah. What other nerdy things are there? Stamp collecting.
Yes. I used to collect stamps.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Interesting. Yeah. I had some Lord of the Rings stamps once.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it did you have one stamp to rule them all?
Very good. Very good. What other nerdy things are there? Toy collecting, trains, figurines, mug collections.
Yeah.
Card games, playing cards, DVDs, books.
Top trumps.
That's a nerdy thing. Yeah.
Top trumps. Yeah.
You could say that shoes could be nerdy. Shoes. Ben, are you enjoying this intro?
No, I'm asleep. What's going on? Are we still talking about nerdy things?
No, we've just finished the pod. Ben, can you wrap us up?
Ben, where can people find us to tell us how idiots we are? Oh, are you enjoying this week, Ben? We're picking on you a little bit, aren't we?
You always pick on me. It's fine.
That's true. Yeah, it's good. It's fun. So this week we're going to be doing our annual event. We are going to be announcing the Nerdies Awards. That's right, 2 plurals. It's the 5th Annual Nerdies Awards. Is that right? Is that right, Ben? Have I done it right?
That's right.
Thank you very much. So we've got 5 categories that we'll be going through, where we pick 3 nerdies for each category. There's 3 of us. They each get a nerdy. Before that, though, I think we probably should do some classic segments, a little bit of broken news, and then some nerd scene. How do we feel about that, boys?
I feel really comfortable about it, actually.
Yeah, like a warm blanket, like sliding into a bed covered in a heavy duvet, and just that warmth just flowing over you. Is that how you feel?
Yeah. I'm going to kick it back a little bit 80s and maybe have a waterbed and a hot water bottle as well.
Yeah. That's exactly what broken news feels like. Yeah.
Do people have waterbeds anymore?
Shall I ask the audience?
Yes.
Do people have waterbeds anymore? Oh, I don't think so. We think everyone has switched to memory phone.
Oh, okay.
What's going on here? What's going on tonight? I'm so confused. Are you two having alcoholic beverages today, conspiring how to completely derail this podcast this evening? It feels like I'm being conspired upon. What's going on here?
I've got a mint tea. I don't have any alcohol. I'm mint.
No, I'm just drinking a clear Acqua di Minerale.
Ben, should we do some broken news?
Let's do some broken news.
Broken news.
Broken news is news that's so old it's not breaking, it's already broken. So there was a trailer released that got the heart beating, got the heart thumping a little bit. Did you guys see the Godzilla vs. Kong trailer?
I have.
No, I haven't. I did see the big lizard versus the giant monkey trailer.
Okay.
Yes, I can banter as well.
That's like the other trailer we've got later on, the eagle and the autumnal soldier. That's all
very
James.
good.
I stole that joke from James 100%. I'm sorry.
That's because you would always remember who it is, and I was like, I've forgotten him again. Is it Kestrel? Is it the Kestrel? No, he's not the
No.
Kestrel. No. Anyway, doesn't matter.
So, Godzilla vs Kong. Now, did you both see Godzilla King of Monsters?
Yes.
No.
Okay. James, I think you should watch it, but you need to know up front.
Yes.
Every single scene with a human being in it is utter trash.
Yeah, I think I remember you telling me about this because you watched it, didn't you? You watched it all of it, didn't you?
Yeah, that's the same shit. But however, every single scene with a monster in it is superb. It's wonderful. Yeah. It's absolute joy.
So is this a follow-on to that movie?
Yes, it is exactly the follow-on. So there are some of the human characters that are the same. Godzilla is theoretically the same Godzilla. Getting to that in a minute. Kong is the same Kong from Kong Skull Island, so it's the same shared universe. Everyone loves a shared universe these days.
Oh,
would you like some spoilers up the top of this? Would you like me to throw some spoilers out, or do you want me to keep spoilers out of this?
Ben, you know my stance on spoilers. I'm not that fussy unless I say no. So in this case, I'm happy with spoilers. What do you want?
I think I know what Nathan's going to say anyway. So I guess check the timestamps. If you want to skip on to the next news article, do that. But Nathan, go ahead.
It won't be more than about a minute, I reckon. So if you're still listening, skip ahead if you want to. There's almost certainly, absolutely, 100% going to be Mecha Godzilla in this. So it's going to be Batman vs Superman all over again. So Godzilla and Kong will be like punching, and they'll be punching, and there'll be some, nuclear breath, and there'll be some axes and punching, and then they'll go and turn to the left, and Mecha Godzilla will be there, and they'll have to fight Mecha Godzilla, and they'll become best friends because of it. James, give me what is Mecha Godzilla?
Yes, please.
So in the original Toho movies, there were many sequels. There were all sort of Godzilla versus Rodan, Godzilla versus Mothra, Godzilla versus Mecha Godzilla, and it's basically it's not yawn. Everyone loves this, Ben. Everyone.
Ben,
Nobody doesn't love
I'm really
Godzilla.
interested. Don't be so rude. We're never rude to you.
No, and so Mechagodzilla is kind of like the humans make it to combat Godzilla. So I think that's going to be what it's going to be in this. Is that there's speculation that the Godzilla in this movie is going to be a child Godzilla, which is why it's a little smaller, perhaps.
Right.
Slightly bigger, and the original Godzilla died and was transformed into Mechagodzilla by the humans to fight Godzilla. I don't know if I can say Godzilla enough in this sentence. I've said it 100 times so far.
Well, which is brilliant. So we can tell our listeners that if they want to play a drinking game during lockdown, you can do and get your shots ready. That every time that we say Godzilla in this small segment. Okay. Yep. Sorry. It's not mega. It's Mecha Godzilla.
Mecha, as in like mechanized, as in robot. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Exactly
right, okay.
that. Yeah.
Right.
And this is coming out soon, isn't it, Ben? This is soon.
I don't know. What I can say to you is I have not seen Godzilla, the remake from whenever it came out, 2015, 2016, something like that.
2014. It's a good movie. It's worth watching, definitely.
But kind of light on the Godzilla, right? Isn't he only in it for like 7 minutes or something?
Something like that. He's kind of in the background. It's more about the human characters trying to sort of being affected by him arriving, and also actually other monsters. Yeah.
Which is fine. I get it. But apparently, it's a very good film. I absolutely adored Kong Skull Island. I thought that was absolutely a superb movie.
Great movie.
I grudgingly went to the cinema with you, Nathan, to watch Godzilla King of the Monsters, and I'm here to tell you right now, JB, that it was an absolute travesty of a film, and I absolutely hated it. I was bored. Everything that happened was so over the top. The big monster fights were rubbish. There was
They were not.
that was okay.
They were not.
in my opinion, Nathan, they were rubbish, and my opinion is the one that I'm counting on.
Ooh.
And I'm concerned that this film, because the trailer for this film, Godzilla vs. Kong, looked great. But if I remember correctly, the trailer for Godzilla King of the Monsters looked great. And that film sucked my nut. So I'm going to wait for some reviews on this from people I trust. And those people will not be you, Turner.
What about me?
I think it's
maybe.
I think it's fair. I think it's fair. You will understand my review because you know where I stand on Godzilla King of the Monsters, and you know where I stand on the different parts of it. And you won't have to wait long because this is coming out on the 26th of March.
Is it coming to a streaming site?
I believe it's going to be on HBO Max and in cinemas should they open.
Right,
I mean, They won't. They won't open.
No, it'd be too early for that for us. But
yeah.
okay.
But I reckon we can get a review into that. Don't you reckon?
Yeah, I think so.
Why not?
I have to confess, I really liked the trailer. I thought it was quite interesting.
Oh, I thought the trailer looked fantastic, and I thought Kong looked brilliant. And I think Kong is going to be the winner, because isn't there going to be an ultimate winner of this fight between the big lizard and the giant monkey?
Theoretically, they said there would be, but really, is the winner not going to be friendship, brotherhood?
Yes, that's right. The real winner is the friends we made along the way.
Is Kong and Godzilla then going to be holding hands as the sun sets or something like that?
Yeah.
And you just have the massive silhouettes. Will they make baby Kongzillas?
There is a son of Godzilla, and in the because you think you but the film is called Son of Godzilla, and in the 1993 movie, no, when was it?
Right,
the American one.
97 or 98.
97. Yeah, it's he's known as Gino. Godzilla in name only. However, he is actually a she in that.
Right.
And so there's precedent for Godzilla being a female character. So yes, they could hold hands, go into the sunset, and make little baby Godzilla and Kongs.
This throws up a whole sort of questionable. Right, let's not stick on this for too long.
Actually, no, do you know what else is interesting? Is that Godzilla is a horrible, horrible westernization of the name. Ben, go on.
Oh no! Finish your point, Nathan, please.
So, Americans are quite possibly racist. Not all Americans. We love some Americans, but when the Americans that got hold of Godzilla were racist because the term is Gojira, which is lizard monkey, I believe.
Right.
And so when said in a Japanese accent, it sounds a little bit like someone do it for me.
No, I don't want to.
Yeah. Say Godzilla, but say Gojira, but in a Japanese accent.
No, I don't want to.
I know it's not. It feels icky, doesn't it?
It does.
And that's the point. It is icky that we call it Godzilla. But is it interesting that it's like lizard monkey?
Yes.
Ben, what was your point?
In the trailer, did you notice that at one point Kong has an axe, and it looks like it's made of one of the scale plate things, from Godzilla's back tail, which looks like that's the sort of thing that would be able to damage him.
Yeah.
What if there are two Godzillas in this movie from the off, and that plate is from the first one that dies, which gets made into Mechagodzilla throughout this movie?
What? So Kong is already defeated one Godzilla.
Yeah.
Thinks
So
he's the game. Thinks
exactly.
he is the game, and then he's not. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the clear winner is Kong because he kills Godzilla in the first 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, and also, but Kong's also the winner because it looks like there's a little child who looks super cute and can talk to Kong, and so Kong's very gentle, and because it's a gorilla, can be very humanized quite quickly, whereas Godzilla is a dragon?
Yeah?
With atomic breath.
Atomic breath. Sometimes I have atomic breath.
Should we move on?
Please, God, please.
So the next piece of news, this is really interesting. they've basically announced a Black Panther-esque Wakanda spin-off TV series, and Ryan Coogler is going to be involved.
Ah, I haven't seen this. When did this come out?
Let's say it was on the 2nd of February or 1st of February. One of those, maybe. Yeah.
Close to that date.
Yeah. So Ryan Coogler, they say he's a singular storyteller whose vision and range has made him one of the standout filmmakers of the generation. Yeah, blah, 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 Bob Iger.
Yeah.
Basically, let's read between the lines. Black Panther made $1 billion worldwide. Let's make a TV series out of it.
So is there any information? There's no information on who this is going to follow. It's just going to be set in the world of Wakanda.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there's been rampant speculation for quite a while, and I think it's kind of come back a little bit recently that Michael B. Jordan might come back. Now, spoilers for the movie that clearly everyone has seen because it made $1 billion, but the character dies. Michael B. Jordan's character dies in that movie.
Well, we think he does.
But we think he does, yeah. So maybe there's some way to bring him back, and perhaps because he's so deeply loved as a character, even though he's the villain.
Yeah.
This is Marvel. They could turn him into the hero.
Well, it's vibranium can heal gunshot wounds in like less than a day. So maybe in 5 years it can bring people back from the dead. Because obviously, poor Chadwick Boseman passing away, and they've said they're not going to recast T'Challa, right?
Mm.
Yep.
Yeah. So, okay, I could see that. That could work. I also think that whilst there's in the comics there's precedence for the Black Panther, the mantle of Black Panther passing on to Shuri, T'Challa's sister, isn't the actor who plays her been involved in some controversial tweets in the last year, maybe?
She has deleted her social media because she was, air quotes, an anti-vaxxer.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Let's leave that there and move on.
It feels like the wrong time of our generation to be an anti-vaxxer. But
yeah,
yes.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, next news story. So there's been some additional stuff to this since this news story came out, but basically Thor 4, so Thor Love and Thunder, is filming now, and there's been some set photos, and really I just wanted to put this in so I could stare at Chris Hemsworth a bit more. I just want to look at his arms. Just look at him.
Mate, I don't know what he's doing, right? But they are so small. What is wrong with him? He's supposed to be like Thor. Like, mate, he is delicious, isn't he? He's delicious.
He is. So things to note about this. It's hunky Thor is back. He's bigger than ever.
Again. He's sexy again.
He's got the long hair back. He's wearing like a leather jacket with the sleeves ripped off, which reminds me a lot of a character called Thunderstrike from the 90s. So in the 90s, all comics, Marvel and DC and everything else, tried to be cool and hip and different and edgy, and most of the main characters either got sort of recast or like changed slightly or tweaked. It's when like Batman broke his back and Azrael took over, and Superman became like Electric Superman and things like that, right? Well, when that happened, there's a character called Masters. Yeah, him. There's a dude, and the superhero name he has is Thunderstrike, and he has a hammer like Mjolnir, but it's quite small. The head of it is quite small. It's more like a club.
Right.
And that character has like a ripped sleeveless jacket, and it basically looks like this Thor. And so it seems that Love and Thunder is a very 90s style movie, perhaps. The logo looks a bit 90s. It would seem they're leaning hard into the 90s aesthetic as well.
Yes.
It would make sense if they rebrand Thor in this film as Thunderstrike, because isn't Jane Foster going to be taking up the mantle of Thor in this movie?
Exactly. Yes.
Interesting.
So that's how you keep Chris Hemsworth. That's how you keep him with having powers, and that's how you keep him as Thor-like.
Yes.
And also they've released since then the lady that was in Doctor Who that plays Nebula. What's her name?
Gillen.
Karen Gillan. Yep.
She's been on set all in a blue makeup and stuff. So she's around for this
excellent. One. So she's in it as well. That's good. Yeah, the Guardians of the Galaxy are in it, aren't they?
They are. Chris Pratt has been seen on set as well. Yeah.
Is Gamora and Drax going to be in it as well? And the other one, Mantis.
Who?
Hang on.
No.
Isn't Gamora dead?
Well, she didn't. There was another one from the past brought into the future in a different dimension, wasn't there? She appeared at the end of Endgame.
Did you not watch Endgame?
I did, but that was a long time ago. Did they all come back? Did they?
No. Hang on. No, she's dead.
Black
the
Widow
version
didn't
of her
come
is
back.
from. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Hang on, just got my timeline messed up. Just give me a minute. It's all right. Just give me a minute, then. Just give me a minute.
I refuse to give you a minute. I refuse.
Okay. You give me 30 seconds. I tell you what, you'll be happy.
Moving on. There was also a Super Bowl, which was kind of weird because normally we'd spend a whole podcast talking about the Super Bowl trailers, wouldn't we? That's what we would do. But this one, we got Fast and Furious 9.
Who cares?
I don't really. Yeah. It looks so ridiculous now. But then, what can I say? I've only seen the first one, so there's no comment can be made, can there?
Sure.
We got the Eagle and the Autumnal Soldier, but we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yep.
We got a brief Raya and the Last Dragon.
Yeah. It was
new Disney
super
film, right?
brief. It's super brief. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it is brief. But it looks great. It looks top notch. I'm really looking forward to that one. Then we got M. Night Shyamalan's new movie, Old.
Yeah, it's going to have a wicked twist. I don't know. We'll see.
Did you watch the trailer?
Yeah.
So the kids get old and then they're pregnant and also they basically live their whole lives on that beach. Scared me. Didn't like it. Not keen.
It was a bit. I was a little bit peculiar. I was like, oh, someone got lost on the beach, and then a guy comes from behind the rocks, and I was like, what? That's your son? What's going on? And then before you know it, people are giving birth on the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a brief trailer for Nobody, but we've seen a longer trailer of that before.
That looks fantastic. I want to watch that film.
Yeah, but is it a bit silly? Is it a bit post John Wick?
Who cares? Who cares?
I did enjoy.
It's Bob
John Wick
Odenkirk playing. I mean, who, by the way, looks incredibly well put together in this film. He's been working out. He's been lifting some weights. He's been eating plant-based diet for a little bit. I'd say he looks good, and he looks badass in this film. And he's beating guys up, and he's using foul language. And I want to watch it. I want to watch this film. I think it will be the sort of film that will be more than well received and do exceptionally well. But we'll see.
I know why Ben likes it, because he likes Breaking Bad and he likes Better Call Saul. And that's the reason.
Excuse me. I've only watched 3 episodes of Better Call Saul and I turned it off because I was like, this isn't Breaking Bad. So I'll tell you what, JB, you can take your opinion of why you think I like no one and shove it up your rectum.
Wow.
I'm drawing a line. This is the line. This is the line. I've drawn it.
He's had a ruler in his hand for
things.
starting things. Yeah, I thought he was going to rule it out a lot earlier.
That kind of hurts, that pun. That was just
It's a deep burn. It's a deep burn.
And the last trailer on there that we're going to talk about very briefly was Coming to America. Does anyone else want to say anything more about that, other than the fact that it does exist?
I will say that it looked actually quite funny. But I don't think I'm going to watch it. I mean, it's basically Coming to America the other way around, isn't it? Yeah. So
I'm definitely going to watch it because I watched Coming to America, the original film from the 80s, a lot when I shouldn't have, and thought it was probably one of the funniest films going for a while. So, I'll watch it. Eddie Murphy's on a little bit of a comeback. Yeah, why not? I'll give it a go.
Feel. Yeah, okay. It's just, I know what you're saying, Ben, but it looks like just like the same movie, and I'm not sure the jokes landed as well as I was hoping.
It depends though, because we've talked about Top Gun 2, and we've
Yeah,
been like, oh yeah,
yeah.
we'd love to see that. And it's just going to be, it's exactly the same, apart from everyone's moved to step up, apart from probably Maverick, who's still like, I don't know, flying rubber dog shit out of Hong Kong or whatever it is.
Very good.
Yeah, thanks.
Last trailer was Eagle and Autumnal Soldier, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So I didn't realize quite how soon this was coming. There's like WandaVision. WandaVision is going to end, and then I'm just going with it. I'm just backing myself. So WandaVision is ending in 4 weeks, 5 weeks,
couple of weeks. Yeah.
And then there's going to be a week gap, and then this is coming out. I had no idea it was this soon. That soon.
Excellent.
This looks amazing. This looks amazing. This looks movie quality on a TV show.
Yeah.
From the trailer. I mean, I looked at it. I was like, "Is this it?" I had to double check. I thought it was a movie. I really did. And I looked it up on IMDb. It's like, oh, it's not. It's good.
It's less episodes than WandaVision, isn't it? It's
6 episodes.
6 episodes. So it feels like what they've done is they've gone right. Each show, you have the same budget. Do with it what you want. And WandaVision obviously is set on one set. You know, it does change each episode, spoilers, but not to the extremes that this show looks like it's, spending the money.
Mm-hmm.
This show just looks like it's a natural progression of the Iron Man, Captain America movies, picking up those characters, moving them along in time, and just going, okay, you're in that same world, still the same dangers, and go. And it just looks great. It looks fantastic, and I'm so pleased that Zemo's back. Spoilers.
I agree. I think it looks great. So I remember reading the. Oh, Ben, help me out. Who's the writer that brought Bucky back? That did the
Ed
Brubaker. Thank you. So I remember reading the Ed Brubaker series of Captain America when Bucky came back, and I think that's perhaps why I love the Winter Soldier movie so much. It's basically seeing that whole 3 or 4 years of comics in a movie, and it feels great. But then spinning out of that, Winter Soldier then did get his own series, and I loved that when it came out. It was like, it was exactly what it says on the tin. It was Captain America, but like dark and gritty, and what if he was once an assassin, and this looks like basically that. Like Winter Soldier gets his own movie. Like you say, James, it's not a movie, but it feels like it. And added to the fact that you've got Anthony Mackie in the role he was born to play,
as the Eagle.
As the Eagle.
Not the Falcon. Not the, what was the other thing you thought it was called, JB?
Kestrel. The Kestrel.
Not the Kestrel, not the Falcon, the Eagle. Yeah. I very much enjoy the relationship that the Eagle and the Autumnal Soldier have in this, when they what was it in Civil War, I think, where there was one scene for about 5 seconds where they're sat in the VW Beetle at the airport before the big airport fight, and Bucky says to Sam, "Could you move your chair forward?" And Sam just says, "No." Just like that. It's like, no, I'm not going to move my chair forward at all. And it's just that relationship has just progressed, and they just, I think they like each other to a degree, and they respect each other, but at the same time they really wind each other up. They're not like best mates, which I think is good. I'd like to see that explored in a 6-episode action spy drama TV show. Go on.
Well, just completely added on what you just said. I 100% agree. The relationship is going to be the core of it, isn't it? And I'm really looking forward to seeing what conceit, what machinations Marvel's put together to force these two to have to go on a mission together. Do you know, how is this odd couple suddenly had to do this thing together?
Yeah.
So
in the comic books, then are these two characters at conflict with each other, or is this just something that?
No. I think the key is they've both been Captain America.
Right.
So it's when Steve died in the comics, there was a whole like who will wield the shield type thing, and there
Yeah.
was a series where it was very much like when Batman died, and there was I can't remember what they called it. It's like who's going to wear the cape or something, or Battle for the Cowl it was called.
Right.
And so it's a similar sort of thing. It's like who's going to be the Captain America from this, because Falcon has got that all-American look about him, and has in the movies been much closer to Steve, hasn't he? But
Yeah.
then you've got Bucky is much more the same character as Steve, as in Man Out of Time, super soldier type thing. So Ben, what were you going to say?
Well, just that I agree with what you're saying there, Nathan. The fact that Steve Rogers gave his shield, 150-year-old or whatever he was, Steve Rogers gave his shield to Sam and said, you've earned it. And Bucky sort of grudgingly sort of nodded his head and smiled as if to say, yeah, you take the shield. But Sam Wilson is not enhanced. He's just a soldier with an exosuit that enables him to fly as the Eagle, as we call him. The US Army developed Captain America, and they're going to go, well, this is our shield. We'll take this back, and we're going to give it to our new Captain America, who is the US agent, possibly. And that, I'll tell you what, JB, that is going to be something to behold. That guy is going to be an excellent character.
Nate, you got your finger up.
Yeah, it's just a stupid comment, but I'm so glad that the Eagle has shaved that stupid chin strap beard off his face that he had in Endgame. Just looked like an absolute idiot. But but now he looks lovely with his little goatee.
Yeah, I think people. Yeah, I agree. I was going to say that in the trailer, someone is Captain America running through a field, or looks like an American football game. Who's that? I wonder. Thank you.
That is the US agent.
Is it? I don't know what the US agent is.
So it's like the government's version of Captain America. Now that Captain America's gone away, they're kind of putting their man on the pedestal. But he might have the super soldier serum. He might be a enhanced. He might be who knows.
In the comics, he's like quite a right wing. I will do as I'm told, and I will take the most brutal option to achieve my mission. Sort of like if you think that Erskine said to Steve, a weak man knows the value of strength, and that's why he was given the super soldier serum, because he knew that he was always going to be a good man. This guy is the exact opposite of that. This guy is probably someone who was a little bit like that guy who used to beat up little skinny Steve Rogers in the 40s when he was training, given the super soldier serum and said, go on, you be our new Cap, you be US agent. That's the sort of guy that John Walker is, the US agent. He's a bit more anything to get the job done, brutal.
Fine.
There you go.
Cool.
There you go.
So that's the end of the news for this week. Should we do some nerd scene?
Yes. Let's do some nerd scene.
Nerd scene.
So this is nerd scene. This is a section of the show where we talk about things that we've watched and we've seen. So should I start off? I think we've all been pretty good in our list this time. Normally we get a list of like 12 things, but we've shortened it out. We have been watching Raised by Wolves. Now we're a little bit behind the curve on this, and I know that we as a group said that we would talk about this on the podcast, perhaps.
Yes.
I would like you both to watch some of it just to have an opinion.
Okay.
I don't want to spoil anything for you. We're at episode 8. I'm asking, looking over the other side of the room, getting a shrug, a smiley shrug. Possibly.
That's nice.
And I still don't know what this show is.
Oh,
but
that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm on episode 8 of 10.
Okay.
It is good. There is no doubt about it. It is good. But there are so many questions, and each time an episode ends, I go, what is going on? What's going on?
No, does that mean I'm not going to get it?
No, you'll get it. It's not confusing like like, oh, what happened in that story. It's just like, where is this gonna go?
Mm-hmm.
It's not predictable.
Right. Okay.
I'm being
Okay.
told off. I mean, I'll tell you what I'm being told off by. I'm being told that I like to predict shows and TV shows and movies, and this isn't predictable, and therefore I don't like it because of that. That's what's
Oh,
being that's what's being told to me.
I got a
Oh,
lot of
fine.
time for that comment. Yeah.
Yeah. I think someone's had the confidence to say something that Ben and I have wanted to say for a very, very long time, and it's actually linked into all the things like you loving all the monster movies or the Rock movies because they're pretty easy to understand and you can predict them. Yeah, I've got it.
It's just big things smashing into
Yeah.
each other.
Guess what he's
that's
gonna
right.
guess what he's gonna say now.
Right, you three, pipe down, yeah.
Brilliant.
Right, yeah. So I genuinely I would like you guys to watch it. I mean, it ticks, most of our boxes. It's sci-fi, it's robots, it's futuristic, it's got quite a lot of shades of that movie Mother I Am Mother that we all watched and we all really enjoyed.
We did.
It's got some stuff about that. It's very Ridley Scott. I mean, he directed the first episode, I think, and then his son directs 2 or 3 after that, and then there's another whole team of people. It's got like the robots in it have like white blood and stuff, a bit like his robots from the Alien series, and it's got like a I don't know if you guys can picture it, but the modern Ridley Scott movie. Do you know what I mean by that? Like,
crap.
No, I didn't mean that. They've got a look. They've got a look and feel that's like it's like really tangible.
Not very good.
I'm going to kick Ben off the call. I think.
I think
You have no authority here, Nathan. No authority.
I think you actually just growled as well a little bit. You growled.
Anyway, so I'd really like to know what you guys think. Even if you just watched the first episode, I'd really like to know what you think.
We know this is available. So, in fact, I think I've got it. It's on Sky Atlantic, Ben.
I believe it is. Yes. Yeah.
I believe when I checked, it was only going to be on Sky Atlantic until like the end of the first week of January, and then it was disappearing. So
it's on HBO Max, so we've got access to it through that.
Okay, cool.
Oh,
brilliant.
Okay, good.
Yeah, brilliant. Good. Yeah, love that.
Right,
yeah.
my second thing, I'll be very quick. Obviously, I've been watching WandaVision. It was just a note to put in here that we, as a podcast, are going to be doing a full season review at the end of it. So it's kind of my nerd scene because it's the thing that takes up my weekly watch. And I can say that I'm really enjoying it.
Good. I think I'm 2 episodes in.
All right. Okay.
God, JB, you need to up those numbers, my friend. Those are rookie numbers. You got to up those numbers.
I'll tell you the reason why in my nerd scene, why I'm so far behind.
One final thing from me is this last sort of 12 months has been 12 months of Star Wars for me. I've been really, really deep into Star Wars, so much more than I ever have been before, and I've always loved it anyway. But so we've done a rewatch of Clone Wars, which I've talked about before. So a watch of Clone Wars, and we're now rewatching Rebels. It's a rewatch for me. It's the first watch for the Doctor, and we watched an episode this evening whilst having dinner, and can confirm the Doctor cried during the episode, at the end of the episode. So I am absolutely loving rewatching it. It's great, and it's sort of really. It's made us. We also rewatched Rogue One because of it. We've really enjoying it. So there's that. Rebels is good. It's good at the minute. Star Wars Rebels, and I've discovered the X-wing miniatures game because I wanted to buy a nice figurine of the ships, and now I'm in love with that as well. People who've listened to the podcast for a long time will know I really love board games, and this is it's just great. It's dogfighting with Star Wars ships. I mean. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just brilliant.
Everything's right about that. Every single thing. How many players can you have with this game?
So theoretically, it's a 2-player game, but you could split your squads into. You could have them different ships controlled by different people.
Don't split the party. Don't split the party.
What?
Don't split the party. Don't ever split the party. No, it's not good. Not wise. It always ends badly.
I was hoping for an X-wing. Post-lockdown, get really, really drunk game.
I would love that. I would
Yeah, me
love
too.
that.
Yeah,
too.
oh, we're doing it.
Just for, I mean, I don't need to say this because everyone just should know it, but I have lost 4 games out of 4 in playing it.
Can I ask a quick question? I might have asked this before, but when you've been playing Star Wars games, do you ever do any lines from Star Wars trying to be funny?
Yeah,
Because I
sometimes.
definitely would. I
We have
definitely
Star Wars
would.
music on, so you know.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking, like, just chucking in, like, oh,
Impressive.
haha, I'm fully operational, like that type of stuff.
Well, this is where the fun begins. That sort of
Yeah,
thing.
that type of thing. Yeah, would you
Nice.
you do that?
Yeah.
Good,
So that's
brilliant.
my nerd scene. That's things I've been watching and playing and doing recently. Ben, what's on your nerd scene?
Well, a couple I haven't put on here, but I've had a pretty quiet month on comic book reading in January. So I read a couple of little novellas. I read Stephen King's Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption, which was great. And I read Nightflyers by George R. R. Martin, which was an early 1980s sci-fi futuristic horror short stories, about 120 odd pages or something like that, and that was really, really good, real good. Page turner. I took about 10-15 pages to get into it, but once you're into it, it was great. So both of those are recommended. Reading in the Immortal Hulk Omnibus Volume 2 by Al Ewing, which is proper dark, proper nasty. The tagline for it is, or the explanation for it is, horror has a name. You'd never notice the man. He doesn't like to be noticed. He's quiet, calm, and never complains. If someone were to walk up to him and shoot him in the head, all he'd do is die until night falls and someone else gets up again. The man's name is Banner. The horror is the Immortal Hulk. It's fantastic. Basically, it leans into the fact that Bruce Banner, along with being infected by gamma radiation that brought out him being a Hulk, is also suffers from dissociative personality disorder. I think I've got that right, or I've said it wrong. But basically, he has multiple personalities living within him, and also multiple personalities of the Hulk. There's the Savage Hulk, who's this rage monster who just destroys everything. There's Joe Fixit, who's quite clever. There's Professor Hulk, and there's this other Hulk who's been dormant for a long time but has suddenly come out, and he's also known as the Devil Hulk, and he's intelligent and savage and clever and brutal and potentially the biggest bad guy in the world ever. It's fantastic. It's a really good read.
It sounds a little bit like Split.
Yeah. Okay. I'd go with that. Yeah, I'd go with that. Split. Yeah, that's a good analogy. Actually, that's a good. Yeah.
Is it set in current continuity? Is it like in canon?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
are there other Marvel heroes popping in and out to stop him from being Devil Hulk? Spoilers.
Not from what I've read so far. I mean, Doc Samson's turned up. We've seen a version of the Abomination. We've seen the Alpha Flight. A couple of them.
Okay. It sounds like it's like how to say this? It sounds like a reboot of original Hulk comics, but modern day, and making Hulk into what he would be now if first time you released him, which would be terrifying.
Yes,
because you've got all you've got the greatest hits in there, right? You've got
yeah. It's very good. It's very good. Amadeus Cho's in there as the totally awesome Hulk, who seems to have gone through some sort of a change where he doesn't look Hulkish anymore, but he's still green. I'm not sure what's going on with that because I've not kept up with his run of comics as when he was the Hulk. But it's post Civil War II when Bruce Banner was killed, and obviously he wasn't killed because when he is killed, he just stands up and he is now the Immortal Hulk. But that's really good. The other comic I read before I picked that one up, before I picked up Immortal Hulk Omnibus Volume 2, was God Country. Now, God Country is by Donny Cates, and it's an Image comic book, and it's bonkers, but it's also heartbreakingly brilliant. It's an old chap who lives in Texas who is His wife has died, and he's slowly but surely losing himself to Alzheimer's. And he was always like this force of nature sort of guy. He was friends with everyone. Everyone knew him. Like he was when he was a teenager, he was like a big football star, and like the local town sheriff is like his best friend. But he knows he's losing his mind, and his son's trying to help him. And then suddenly, this weird, almost otherworldly storm hits, and through this storm comes this weird sword. That when this old chap who's called Emmett Quinlan, who's suffering from Alzheimer's, when he picks it up, he suddenly knows who he is, and he knows what he's got to do with this sword. And this sword is every sword from every hero story ever told, where a sword is like a big character in it. It's a fantastic comic book. It's only like about 5 or 6 issues long, but it's fantasy, and it's superheroes, and it's gods, and it's set in Texas, and it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I loved it. God Country, Donny Cates. Pick it up at your local comic book store safely. There you go.
Cool.
That's my nerd scene. JB,
That sounds good. Mate, I just want to say the Immortal Hulk sounds pretty amazing, actually.
It really is. If you are a fan of comics, but you haven't been reading Marvel comics for a little while, and you think, oh, I don't know, am I going to like this? Oh, seriously, this is one of the most adult Marvel comics I've read, without being, like in a panel that I read last night, the Hulk crushes some skulls. You don't see it, you just hear it. You see that he's about to do it, and then it cuts to a different panel, and you just see it says like scrunch, and you're just like, oh, he just crushed those guys' heads. But you don't see it because it's Marvel, obviously, but it's really good.
Well, once we're out of lockdown, I'm so sold on what you've just said. I'd like to borrow it if that's at all possible.
That is possible.
Done.
Yeah, you're more than welcome.
I love possibilities. I love possibilities.
Yeah, who knows when we get out of this lockdown, but yeah.
Exactly. Shall I talk about my things that I've watched?
Please
okay,
do.
So the reason I'm a little bit far behind on WandaVision is that I basically watched 3 seasons of Stranger Things within about a week and a half.
You JB'd it. You JB'd it. That's what you do.
Well, I didn't, and it wasn't just me that did it. I did it with my wife Alison because she wasn't too sure because she's not normally into the sci-fi. I guess there's a bit of horror in there. We both get scared quite easily, but we watched it, and we watched both of it. We both watched it over a week and a half, and I did love it. I absolutely loved it. First time I've seen it. First season was absolutely fantastic. Loved all the type of 80s references in there. A little bit of ET on the bikes, etc., etc. They weren't flying, but 11 flipped over a van. I mean, I'm just there really. And yeah, I'm looking forward to season 4. Absolutely looking forward to it.
JB, I have a question.
Yes.
In season 2 of Stranger Things,
yes,
there's an episode where 11, she is called 11, isn't she?
Yeah, or Elle, if you want to call her.
Yeah. Where she goes off and she has like a mission on her own where she bumps into a bunch of kids, and one of them has got like some psychic powers like she has.
Her sister.
Yeah. I really liked that episode, but that episode got a lot of stick when it came out for like being boring and not continuing the story and all that sort of thing. But I was like, this is fantastic character development for this little kid. Did you like that episode?
I wholeheartedly agree. I think that season 2 there was quite a lot of character development there. It's not okay. I'll agree with Nate. It's not as groundbreakingly awesome as the first season. The thoughts around Upside Down. You've got you've almost got like a main character that's not in the movie. Not in the season. Is in the season the first episode, and then is kind of there in the last episode. But I just really liked it. I mean, I like the premise of the second season around the Mind Flayer and what was going on and everything else and then the third season followed on and really closed that book for me quite nicely. And now we're on to season 4, and where is that going? Where is that going?
You haven't looked at any trailers for season 4 potentially, have you?
Potential. You know I have.
Oh no. Okay. Did you know that I can't remember her character's name, but she works in the ice cream parlor with Steve?
Yeah.
Do you know who that is?
Yeah. I'm just trying to remember what her name is. I should know.
It's Uma Thurman's daughter.
I tell you what, I recognised her from somewhere.
Well,
Yeah.
The fact that she just looks exactly like her.
Yeah.
Mum. And it's also Ethan Hawke's daughter as well, because I think they were married or they were together at one time.
There's a good gene pool to get your looks, isn't there?
Absolutely. Yeah. Who do I want to look like? Uma Thurman or Ethan Hawke? I tell you what, I'll look like both of them.
Yeah. It was brilliant, and I quite liked, and I liked Steve's journey as well, going from high school jock to like getting the really the girl of the moment, Nancy, and all this type of stuff, and then he's kind of his fall from grace, and then he's now with the nerds. I just liked it. Very, very good.
What's the song that the little dorky kid sings to his girlfriend who no one believes is real? Never-ending story. That's it. Oh, so good.
And that's what I liked about the third season as well. There were just some nice comedy breaks all through it. I mean, Alison and I all through the 3 seasons were like, why are you doing this? Why would you go into a scary wood with just the 2 of you and a flashlight? And I said, well, wouldn't you want to save your friends? And she looked at me and she was like, no. I better not get myself into any trouble anyway. So yes, Stranger Things, really enjoyed it. Can't wait for season 4. And the other thing that I watched, which was with my youngest daughter, which is on Netflix, is it's only season 1 of Spectacular Spider-Man, and my God, absolutely loved that cartoon. I don't know whether I loved it because I was sat there with my youngest and she was really enjoying it, and she was talking about Spider-Man, and there were all these new characters that I didn't even know, like Silver Sable, and there's the cat one, and I forgot. No, that is the Silver Sable, isn't it? No,
yeah, I think you're White Tiger.
Yeah, White Tiger. Yeah. Just absolutely fantastic. And when you've got, well, she's soon to be 6, and she's saying, "What's an alien symbiote?" And I'm like, "Oh," and then she goes, "Oh, I know what it is. It makes Spider-Man bad." I'm like, "That you've nailed it. You've absolutely nailed it." And she was like, "This black thing that's on him makes him not be his friend, not want to be with his friends anymore. I don't like it." I was like, boom, that was enough for me. It's a brilliant cartoon. I think there are actually 2 seasons, but it's not on Netflix yet. If I can find it somewhere, I will watch it. But just the story of Peter Parker and his growing up and with his friends and everything, just loved it. Very, very good.
Excellent.
Yeah, I remember watching that. I remember really enjoying that version of it as well. I think it's lovely seeing you, like you say, enjoy it with your youngest. There's something nice about it, like because you tell us about it, what you've seen, and I can sort of picture, your little one enjoying it. That's really lovely. So yeah, it's great.
It was only 2 seasons, and it started in 2008 and it finished at the end of 2009.
Yeah.
So that's it. All 2 seasons, all done. Interesting.
Shall we move on to the topic of this week after an hour's worth of talking?
Wow.
You did go on for about 20 minutes about the big lizards, Nathan. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. All right.
Yeah. That's what people want, Ben. That's the content people are after.
Give the people what they want.
Yeah, hot takes on movies from the 60s.
They want predictability, and they want people to be able to tell them what's going to happen.
So this week we are doing our Annual Nerdies Awards. We have 5 categories. Shall I read the categories out quickly?
Yes.
We have the biggest surprise of 2020, the biggest disappointment of 2020, the best thing of 2020, the worst thing of 2020, and then the main award. Bear with me a second. The best actor or director or writer or movie or comic or TV show or scene or page or TV show runner or comic book writer / artist that achieved work that was critically and financially fine, therefore deserving of this award in our eyes. Oh, stumbled a couple of times, but I reckon.
No,
I'll do.
that was good. That was good, Nathan, because that's
Thank you.
not
It wasn't
easy.
bad.
That is not easy to do. Well
It
done.
wasn't bad. It wasn't
Yeah.
bad.
I think one day we actually have to do these awards properly and like get them like printed on plaques and like and I just want to see that. I want to take that into a Timpson's and say, can you engrave this, please?
Hang on a minute. I remember that. Wouldn't your father be able to make things like this?
It's a good point. Yeah, he did make it. He made a Movember award.
did.
Once. Yeah,
It was. Yeah.
it was like a BAFTA, wasn't it? But with a moustache.
Yeah. Exactly.
A BAFTA with. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah. I do remember that. Excellent.
My dad, yeah. Papa Turner. Right. Let's get on with the biggest surprise then, shall we?
Yes.
So this is the as it says on the tin. This is a movie or TV show or something that we didn't know was coming or didn't think was going to be much of anything, and this surprised us. So, Ben, what was your biggest surprise of 2020?
Solar Opposites. Solar Opposites is the new adult animated sitcom created by one of the co-creators of Rick and Morty, which is Justin Roiland and Mike McMahon. I think it originally aired on Hulu. It was created for Fox, and it basically is the story of two aliens that come to Earth with their replicant versions of themselves. And a small pupil, whatever you want to call it. It's a smaller version of them that's an alien that may or may not be a planet-destroying mega monster. And they have to blend it in. And it's Rick and Morty like, and I thought, I'll give this a try because I like the voices that Justin Roiland does. I love Rick and Morty. Gave it a go. And it is as deep as some of the deep episodes of Rick and Morty got, and it is as hilarious. And it has all these other sort of background stories that happen. For example, two of the children who are like the younger versions of the adult aliens sort of create they shrink down all these humans and they create like a weird society within like their room. And it's got like
it's like an ant colony, isn't it? But like
it's like an ant colony, but it's got like a caste system, and it's got like people at the top, and it's got like the downtrodden people down below. And there's a one episode dedicated entirely to that, and it's fucking outstandingly good. The show is brilliant. It's coming back for season 2, I think, this year. In fact, I think it's going to be released on March the 26th, 2021, which I'm on board for. Although I might be busy that day, March the 26th. 2021, because I might also be watching Invincible, the animated TV program that comes out on Amazon Prime on the same day.
Isn't that anyway, the day that the lizard and the monkey fight as well?
I think it's also the same day that
What a day! What a day!
I think it's also the same day that the Eagle and the Autumnal Soldier is going to be releasing new episodes.
Hang on. This could be the greatest day in history. This could be the greatest day in history where every one of us is happy.
But we knew this was going to happen. We knew this was going to happen after 2020 being the shitstorm of cancellations that it was. We knew this was coming.
Yeah, but it could also be the most disappointing day of all because we all think something good's going to come out and everything's bad.
It's very.
Ben, I want to say, just against Solar Opposites, that episode in particular where it's in the ant colony is very good, but I really didn't like the rest of the season. I know you like it.
I know. I hear that, and that's fine. It's okay. I'm not one of these guys who's like, oh my God, you didn't like it. Oh, this is all the reasons why you're wrong. It's fine. If you didn't like it, it's fine. But for me, it was such a surprise because I thought, oh, well, this show, there's no way this show can be as good as Rick and Morty. And I thought that it was as good as Rick and Morty at its best in like season 2. For me.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah.
There you go. That's my biggest surprise of 2020 is Solar Opposites. Give it a try at your local video store safely. What?
I don't know. So my nerdy's biggest surprise of 2020 is a film called Palm Springs. Have either of you watched Palm Springs yet?
No,
No.
but we talked about the trailer, and this looks very good.
Yes. So for people who haven't seen the trailer or don't know about it, it's basically Groundhog Day, but it's Andy Samberg, and he's trapped at this wedding event in Palm Springs. That he has to live the day over and over and over again. And that's not a spoiler because that is right at the beginning. That is straight away, like you get into that. And it's really refreshing because it doesn't spend a lot of time explaining everything to you or spoon feeding you the sci-fi element. It's just kind of like, you know this and you get it. And I when we watched it, after we watched it, I was saying how I was really impressed with the level of maturity with cinema language we've got to now. And I just mean like we just accept that now as audience members. I don't need to be told, oh, he's trapped in a loop and it's because of this. I just go with it. It doesn't matter how or why or anything. It's just that's the premise. Get on with it. It's really funny. It's incredibly heartwarming. It looks brilliant. It's got some extra layers, which I'm not quite sure I understand fully yet. And I would definitely watch it again. Palm Springs was fantastic.
Fine, I am going to watch this on Valentine's Day. I've just
Oh,
decided.
Good shout. What an
Sunday.
absolute great shout.
Oh
What's the
wow,
name of the
Mrs. Bingham
lady?
is so lucky to watch a film recommended by Nathan on Valentine's Day. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, definitely. Aren't you doing the same?
Look, spoilers, it's a bit of a romance.
Fine.
But it's also a lady in it called Kristin. I'm gonna butcher her surname, Miliotti, and she's really good. And she's been in lots of stuff that I hadn't realised she'd been in. She's got like a chameleon face. You don't realise it's her. She was in an episode of Black Mirror. She was in Death to 2020. I don't know if you saw that fake documentary.
She played one of Johnny Sack's daughters in The Sopranos. There you go. There's a deep cut.
She's in
Ooh.
Fargo, apparently. Like she's really good, and we both watched it, the Doctor and I, and we're like, oh, I'd never seen her before, and then looked her up and we're like, oh yeah, she's in this, and this. Like
she's in everything we like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Palm Springs, highly recommended. I'm glad you're going to watch it, JB. I think
Yeah.
you and the wife will love it.
I'm going to watch
thank
it
you
as
very
well.
much.
I'm definitely going to watch it as well. It's on my list. It's one of those things that I've been planning. Oh, I should probably watch that, but I just haven't got around to it yet.
Fine.
You won't
But
regret
I'm not going to watch it because I'm angling to watch the next thing that we're going to talk about over the next couple of days. So JB, do please go ahead.
Really?
Seriously, I've got it downloaded. Seriously.
Oh, mate. Okay. So my choice here is McMillions, which was a documentary miniseries about the McDonald's monopoly promotion scam that I think occurred around 1990, 2001, something like that. And do you know what? I thought I'm going to watch this, and this can't be true life. This is just some sort of made up documentary. And I tell you what, it was fantastic, fascinating, and most of all, the people within this documentary were just characters that you just wouldn't believe. Like, this FBI agent had so much personality in the way he was describing things and how he was. I honestly thought he was like a plant, like a comedy plant.
Right,
I was like, this can't be true. And the whole scam, I genuinely thought this someone had just made this up, and it really wasn't. And I just again watched it with the wife, and it was just riveting all the way through, and understanding. I think it's six episodes? Yeah, 6 episodes. And they're about an hour long, but it didn't feel like an hour.
Okay.
And you felt every step of the way that you were getting the enrichment of information, and it was almost like I was living it. I felt like I was somebody. I was undercover, and I was there, and I knew it, and everything else like that. It was It was great. And Ben, if you've downloaded it and you're going to watch it, there is no way in hell that you're not going to love it. I genuinely believe that.
Oh, I love a good documentary about a real life like scandal or murder or something like that. So yeah, this is all what I'm about. And Claire and I have recently finished watching something that almost made it onto tonight's list, but it didn't, or maybe it did. Spoilers. We've just finished watching a program on Netflix, so I think we're angling for something new. And I knew that you talked about this on the podcast before, JB, and I was like, oh, well, that sounds really, really good. And I think at one point Ben Affleck was going to make a movie about this exact story, about the McMillions scandal. So yeah, I want to find out what this is about. Nathan, sorry, you've got your finger up. You want to talk?
No, it's fine. I was just gonna echo what you're saying, Ben. Your promotion of it, JB, is very impressive, and I now also want to really watch it. So yeah, I think we'll crack on with it as well.
Cool.
Yeah. Good. So that's our biggest surprise, which is a good thing. We feel good about surprises. Let's bring it down a little bit. Let's bring it down. The next one is our biggest disappointment. So this is something clearly, as it says on the tin, something we were really looking forward to, something we thought was going to be amazing, something we thought was going to blow our socks off, and we got to it, and it was not quite what we'd hoped for, which is probably our fault rather than its fault. Who knows? Ben, what was your biggest disappointment of 2020?
My biggest disappointment of 2020 is the Jeff Johns written, Jason Fabok drawn comic, DC comic, Batman 3 Jokers. Now, let me just start by saying that the artwork on this comic is absolutely sublime. Jason Fabok or however you say his name, no one draws Batman like this guy draws Batman.
Yeah, he doesn't draw bad pictures ever.
He is a supremely talented artist, and he should draw all Batman comics going forward. The thing I'm disappointed that made this comic disappointing to me is that it's a 3-issue run. It's not within the main continuity of Batman, or it is, but it's not. It's been teased since the New 52 Justice League run that there was more than one Joker. Jeff Johns teased it back in.
Wasn't it at the end of beginning of Rebirth or something?
No, it was when Batman sat on the he became the god of knowledge.
Yeah, the Dark Side War. And
so it's been teased for like 5, 6, 7 years, something like that, and it's always been like, oh my god, there's something weirdly mystical, like maybe one Joker's been pulled in from another universe when some massive event, or like universe resetting events happen. No, there's just 3 Jokers. One Joker made 2 other copies of himself using chemicals, and it's shit. It is one of the worst Jeff Johns stories I have read. It is such a missed opportunity. It is unbelievable. And I closed the book, the page on the last issue of the last book, and thought to myself, I sat back and I thought, okay, I think I need to read this again. So the next day I then read issues 1, 2, and 3 again, back to back. Because sometimes with a comic book that you think is going to come out monthly, and it does come out monthly, but it was announced like 3 years ago, and then it took ages to write and draw and all that sort of thing. I thought, okay, so I need to give it a chance again, back to back, and I enjoyed it slightly more reading it back to back. However, ultimately, I'm left dissatisfied, and Batman is hardly in it.
Ooh.
And it's called Batman 3 Jokers, and Batman is in the first issue a little bit, in the second issue even less, and in the third issue he's like the main character, but it's just not a good comic, and I was very disappointed. And there you go. But that's my opinion. I'm sure other people have read it and gone, oh my god, this is the best thing ever. But for me, Jeff Johns has lost it completely.
Ooh,
he has lost it.
Yeah, no comment on that. I feel like I love Jeff Johns' 2005-ish era. However, I've heard some stuff that might not be the nicest chap in the world. So yeah. Hey, you know what? Oasis, one of the greatest bands on the planet. Don't think those lads are very nice either, but I like their music.
yes.
You don't like Oasis. You like country and western music. Don't lie to people listening to this podcast, Nathan. Just don't do it.
So my biggest disappointment of 2020 was the film Tenet.
Oh, I still haven't seen it. And I haven't seen it because you didn't like it very much.
No, that's not fair. I did like it. I think it's great. I think it's great Nolan stuff. So why, I hear you ask? Why,
Yes.
I hear you ask?
Nate,
Is
wait
it
a
on
minute.
the big...
Nate, wait a second. Why?
Yes, Nathan. Why?
Is it on the biggest disappointment of 2020? Because you can't understand a damn thing that happens in the movie. Not one word can you really understand. It's so loud. It is so unbelievably loud, especially when they're supposed to be giving away the plot and telling us what's going on. It's just ridiculous.
Why does Nolan do this? Why does he do this?
It's like he went, I really liked what I did with Bane. I'll do that for 2.5 hours.
I was wondering when you were going to bring up Bane.
Yeah, exactly that. But more muffled and complicated plot.
Right.
So it's. I'm gonna inject you in a time where don't ask. And it's like what?
Pardon?
What? Yeah, exactly.
Oh
Exactly.
no.
That's the problem with it. That's why it's so disappointing, because you have to watch it a second time. And I want to watch it a second time. I really do, because it's visually stunning and it's Nolan doing Nolan. But what a frustrating experience it was. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Now I can watch it at home, because I watched it in the cinema when we had a break in the lockdowns.
Yes.
And now at home I can put some subtitles on, so I'll know everything that's going on.
I would love to hear what you think of the movie once you've been able to read it properly.
Yeah. Exactly that, yeah. Right, JB, what was your biggest disappointment of 2020?
Well, this is like hugely controversial.
I tell you what, I want to lodge an official complaint right here and right now. I've just read what you've put here, JB, and I am not happy. I am not happy at all. Right, you go ahead.
Well, so my biggest disappointment was our listeners will recall that we did a trilogy of pods, and we all got to choose some movies for that trilogy, and my biggest disappointment were Ben's choices of movies, which were Equilibrium and Strange Days. I mean, I did watch Equilibrium. When I say I watched it, I felt like I was out for dinner having a steak in a really posh restaurant, and I've just paid a lot of money for this steak, and I've cut a base up, and I put it in my mouth, and now I'm chewing it, and I'm thinking, my God, this is chewy. This is chewy, and everyone's watching me, waiting for my reaction of me eating this meat, and I'm like, I cannot chew it. I'm just gonna have to break it down with saliva, and it's gonna be there. And they're still looking at me 20 minutes later, and I still haven't chewed it yet. So that was that one, and I didn't even finish Strange Days. I couldn't watch it. Now I think out of the two movies, Strange Days had a lot more potential. But they wasted it. So yeah, that was my biggest disappointment. But I also have to, if we've got any new listeners here today or whenever we put this live, in our trilogy of pods, I did choose a film that definitely was more horrifically poor than both of Ben's choices.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to say that I was a disappointment. Because I don't think that's right, okay? And I'm an only child, and that would have really affected my psyche. So I had to choose that. So yeah, Ben, the body language says 1,000 words, and I apologize. I do apologize.
Well, let's bring it up a beat, shall we? But we won't give Ben a chance to rebuttal that. He's given us all his thoughts about those things before. Let's talk about the best thing of 2020.
Best
The absolute
thing!
best thing. We've each picked the best thing. Ben, what is your best thing of 2020?
I don't want to talk. Okay, this was tricky for me because I could have chosen several different things, as I'm sure you could. Now, obviously, 2020 was light on new material, new movies, new TV shows, that sort of thing coming out. Obviously, we did get some stuff, as we've talked about. So I did during the first lockdown in the spring of 2020, I did quite a lot of podcast binging. I listened to an awful lot of episodes of Do Go On, which is a great podcast. I did an awful lot of episodes of the Suggestible podcast, which is Mr. Sunday Movies and his wife Claire Tonti suggesting things, and all those things are great. Recently watched Bridgerton on Netflix, which came out in 2020, and it was such a surprise how good it was. It was almost in my biggest surprise of 2020, but I watched it in 2021, so I was like, nah, I won't do that, even though it came out on Christmas Day. So for me, my best thing of 2020 is a podcast by Imaginary Worlds podcast, which is by a chap called
Imaginary Worlds. Love
Eric Malinsky. Yeah, he's fantastic. Nathan, you got me onto this guy. He has done podcast episodes on anything that you can think of that has a nerdy slant. So World of Warcraft and Doctor Who and Star Wars and gaming,
Dungeons and Dragons and
and literally anything. And he did an episode called Fighting a Virtual Pandemic. Now, we're in lockdown and I'm listening to a podcast called Fighting a Virtual Pandemic. And you're probably going, what are you doing? What is going on? However, it was unbelievably good. And I have recommended this podcast to several people who have since listened to it and gone, oh my God, that was incredible. And then they've gone and binge listened to loads and loads and loads of Imaginary World podcast episodes because the guy is brilliant. He like teaches at the NYU in New York University how to build and create podcasts. He's that good at doing podcasts, JB.
He used to be an animator, didn't he? He worked in Disney Company, I think.
I don't know, Nathan. I'll take your word for it on that, but the guy is incredible. Anyway, what is this podcast about? Fighting a virtual pandemic. Why am I listening to that? JB, what are you opening that's really loud? What's going on?
Sorry.
Unbelievable. I'm trying to talk here, my friend, and you've just shit all over me. Do you think you could just give me a second here? Do you think?
Yeah.
Thank you. Right. Okay. So basically, this episode, I'll describe I'll read out the description for it. It says in 2005, the multiplayer online game World of Warcraft was taken over by a virus called corrupted blood. And the virtual pandemic in this fantasy world played out remarkably like COVID-19. In this podcast episode, he talks with an epidemiologist and gamer, Eric Lofgren, NYU game designer instructor Alexander King, and a longtime player, and it cuts off there. But essentially, this tells the story of some coding that went wrong in World of Warcraft, created a virtual pandemic, and killed millions and millions of players' characters across the world. And it was basically, it played out just like COVID-19 with people not believing in it. People then sort of going, oh, well, I'm going to get myself infected and go and spread it to other people and create like some form of herd immunity. That didn't work. Oh, I'm going to stand here and tell people, no, don't go in there because the corrupted blood pandemic is in this city, or in this town, don't go in there. And then people didn't listen, went in, got it, took it away. Honestly, it is fantastic, and it has to be listened to be believed. I will include the link to this episode in the podcast notes of this podcast, and I encourage you to listen to it because it does have a happy ending, but it is so relevant to 2020 and 2021. You wouldn't even believe it. It is brilliant. James, go ahead.
How long's the podcast?
30 minutes.
Brilliant. I'm in.
4.5 hours. Nah, can't do it, mate.
Oh, I'm
No,
going to split that over a couple of days.
he keeps his episodes really short, really snappy. They get to the point. They cover what you want to hear. He is a superb podcast creator, and I really recommend people listen to him. Imaginary Worlds, and this episode was fighting a virtual pandemic. Brilliant.
He's the complete opposite of us.
Yeah,
He's fantastic and really concise, and we're rubbish and really long.
Yeah, we really can't do our own timings or do
Yeah.
anything like that. We have like a main bit of a podcast, and then we talk over it for a lot of it. Yeah, is that right?
Yep. Right. Well, in spirit of moving on with things, my best thing of 2020 was a little Netflix show called Auntie Donna's Big Old House of Fun. I don't know if you guys watched this or not.
I haven't watched it, but I'm aware of it.
Yeah, I put it as my best thing because there's only 6 episodes. I don't think I laughed out loud all the time, but there's something about it that keeps drawing me back. And having watched all of the show on Netflix, I've now pretty much consumed everything that they've made on YouTube. I haven't listened to their podcast. I listened to 1 or 2, and they weren't necessarily for me. But this show is so funny and so stupid. They describe their humor. So it's a sketch show, right? It's a 6-episode sketch show. It's something like a modern Monty Python-ish, but they describe themselves as like kids' humor for adults.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit like Play Days, but with swearing and sex and like shit and death and things. And there are just some bits of it that just will stick with me forever. I just think it's so funny. Everything's
it's
a
like
drama.
surreal comedy.
Yeah, it's really surreal. It's really surreal, and I think that's the childish humor. Like they can jump from one thing to another, like in one move, and you can see how they got to it, but it doesn't make sense at the same time. You know. Yeah, they do some music as well. They do, like some comedy songs. It's really funny. It's just really funny. It's so stupid though. Like you're almost ashamed of laughing at some of it because some of it is so dumb. Go on.
Nate, is it? I mean, I'm not saying that this show was dumb, but have you ever watched Flight of the Conchords?
I'm aware of it. I've seen quite a few clips, and those folks went on to do all sorts of. That was Jermaine Clement, wasn't it? And he went on to do other things. Yes, it's similar to that. Yeah. So there's some dumb songs in there, and it's a little bit wacky, and like I can imagine people on drugs would find Auntie Donna's Big Old House of Fun really wonderful because it's very colourful and does lots of wild and wacky stuff. That's not what I recommend you do. I recommend you just watch it because it's really funny.
I'm just gonna pop some pills and go and watch it.
Ben.
There's because it was promoted quite a bit on quite a few of the Planet Broadcasting podcasts. I checked out their YouTube channel, and they did because they did like short 4 or 5 minute clips as well on YouTube, which are also hilariously funny. And one of them is a teacher calling the register, or the roll as they call it in Australia. And I don't know if there's anything like that on this.
Yes, there is. There is. In the first episode, they have to get a new housemate, and they have a list of all the different housemates, and it's just like a new one, and then another one, and another one, another one, and it's like punchline jokes, just bang, 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 bang. I should have said up top. So yeah, they're 3 Australian guys. The actual team of Auntie Donna, I think, is bigger than just the 3 of them. I think they've got another 3 writers as well, but they've got 3 frontmen. It's Mark, Zach, and Broden, and they're just really funny. I can't describe it, and I would never ever do their jokes justice. You just kind of got to watch it. And
well, I'll tell you what I'll do, Nathan. I'll put a link in, obviously, to the Netflix, because it's a Netflix show, isn't it?
It is
Netflix.
Netflix
Auntie Donna's Big Old House of Fun.
It's like
I'll also put
20 minutes an episode. It's shorter. It's shorter than the Imaginary Worlds podcast.
JB's in. I'll also put a link to this roll call YouTube clip from them as well. And if you watch that, which is like 4 minutes, and you think that is funny, then go and try Auntie Donna's Big Old House of Fun, because it's on my list of things to watch. I just have to get to it because there's been a lot of things on my list of things to watch.
It's just so brief. I mean, but like keep the kids away from it. Like Oh my god,
Okay.
keep the kids.
I wouldn't watch it with my youngest then, yeah?
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
No.
So
JB,
I'm thinking about the jokes and just laughing to myself. Carry on as you were.
JB, now I'm probably going to allow your best thing of 2020 because it actually came out in 2020. Unlike the things that your biggest disappointment of 2020 that didn't come out in 2020 and therefore shouldn't have been allowed, because I didn't do Succession, which would have been my best thing of 2020, but that didn't come out in 2020. It came out in 2018 and 2019. So
Sure.
I would allow you to do your next thing. But what
Okay,
I'm saying to you is I'm still upset with your biggest disappointment of 2020.
But your decisions came out in 2020. You made those decisions in 2020. So JB, people can't see the fingers he's given us. Sorry,
Yeah,
JB,
that's
go on.
brilliant. So Ben is technically right because I didn't actually watch this show in 2020. I watched it I watched it just before I watched Stranger Things. So I would have been maybe 2 weeks ago. So my choice is the Queen's Gambit, and I have to say, it when you watch something, and it's about, in this case, primarily chess, and I used to play chess when I was younger. I mean, I wasn't any good. I just played at school a little bit. But when you're just like, oh my god, I really want to go and play chess again. It's just fantastic. I mean, it's based on a novel by, it's going to come to me in a minute, Walter.
Cronkite.
No,
No.
Tevis. He did The Color of Money, I think, which is
Right.
Paul
Newman.
Paul Newman and Tom Cruise, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. So yeah, based on novel. I mean, I have to confess that I don't know if I would read the book because I think there would be too much chess, if you know what I mean. So the series was able to take what was down on paper, put it on screen in a much different way, which I think was much more palatable for me anyway. But
some technical stuff, isn't there? Isn't there some chess technical stuff?
Oh my god, mate! There are moves upon moves within chess that you just wouldn't even know about. I mean, the only one that I knew about was a chess move called Fool's Mate. But my god, there's things like the Sicilian. And in one of the episodes, the main character. So the main character is Beth Harmon, played by an actress called Anya Taylor-Joy, and she is awesome. Very awesome. Anyway, the story is how she struggles with drug and alcohol addiction. She's an orphan, and then she meets someone at the orphanage, old guy, kind of like becomes a father figure, teaches her how to play chess, and she's just got the mind for it. And anyway, she's what I was trying to get to. There was an episode where she's playing in a tournament, and there's someone's commentating on this game, and he's like, "Oh, Beth Harmon has just made that move and counteracted the Sicilian with the." I'm going to make something up called the Italian revolver. I don't even know where this comes from. Okay. And then you're like, well, the Russian would normally play this to counter. Oh, he hasn't done it. You're like, what? What is going on here? But it is beautiful to watch. The struggle of a female trying to crack the chess world. It's
set in the 60s, isn't it?
There's she's having. Pardon me?
Oh, apologies, I broke up then. Isn't it set in the 60s?
Yeah. So starts in the 50s and then proceeds into the 60s and so on. And it's she's just at every turn she's getting pushed away and not taken seriously, and then she proves herself, and then everyone wants to be her friend. She then hits the highs, then hits the lows, needs her friends to come back. She's very, as a character, very quirky, on the scale of if I'm politically correct to say that, like an autism type of thing. So being in crowds of people, I feel that she's not that comfortable with. But man, what a show. Really, really good. Yes, Ben.
Didn't the show cause a massive spike in people wanting to buy chessboards in Christmas 2020? And like chessboards all over the world were selling out because everyone was buying them because of this show.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, Stranger Things caused Dungeons and Dragons to have a spike in popularity as well.
Did it?
Yeah. The sales of Dungeons and Dragons after season 1 like skyrocketed.
Wow. Good.
There
Yeah.
you go.
So yeah, if you both haven't seen it, I would definitely recommend it.
I have seen quite a lot of bits of it over a book that I was reading because the doctor was watching it whilst I was reading. So I kind of know most of it, but it did look very good. It did, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now to bring the mood down slightly, but we're only going to hang on this very. This is going to be a quick section, real quick.
Yes.
Okay, this is the worst thing of 2020. Ben, hit us with your worst thing of 2020.
Well, I think it's a pretty obvious one, but it was all the postponed films that occurred due to COVID-19. So the fact that we should have had the Eternals, and we should have had Black Widow, and we should have had the new James Bond movie. There's just not enough time in the world to die another day, or whatever it's called. We haven't just so many films that were postponed or cancelled and pushed back to this spring, and now they've been pushed back again to like this summer or later in the year or next year. It just sucks. And I know why it's happened, because these films need to make money for ticket sales and cinemas, but it's just sucked. It sucked. We've needed these things. We needed them. We needed them in some way. They should have come on to streaming. People would have paid. I would have paid 15 quid to watch a new Bond film on streaming. Definitely. But anyway, there you go.
And James, I'm sorry, I'm going to tread all over your one because it's the same as mine.
Yes.
And the worst thing of 2020, we both agreed, was Wonder Woman 1984.
Yeah.
And in the interest of getting extra numbers for our listeners, we did a review of this. So if you want to know why we think it was rubbish, go listen to that.
Yeah, exactly right. The promise of a fantastic film that never delivered.
Yeah, it was bad. So let's move on to some highs, shall we? The main award. This is just an excuse to give another good thing out. We said best thing, but this is kind of like best thing 2, the sequel. We should call it best thing 2, the sequel next year.
Yes, it should be.
No, I vote no on that. I vote we always call it this.
Okay.
But you call it what you want.
Insert in here the recording of me earlier saying what this award is. And then tell us what your...
I won't do it. Okay. My best thing, main award for 2020 is a bit of a spoiler. So if you haven't seen season 2 of The Mandalorian, stop listening now. However, everyone knows that there is a character that shows up in the last episode of season 2 of The Mandalorian called The Rescue, I believe it's called. It's Luke Skywalker. And yeah, he looks terrible, but oh my God, Luke Skywalker's in The Mandalorian. Luke Skywalker's in The Mandalorian, and he shows up with a lightsaber, and he's chopping wood, and he's kicking those Death Trooper droids' ass, and he's smashing the place up, and he's fantastic. And I absolutely loved. Like when I saw an X-Wing turn up, I was like, oh my God, it can't be. And then I saw a hooded, cloaked figure walking down the corridor, and I was like, oh my God. And then you saw a black glove holding a green lightsaber, and I was like, it's Luke Skywalker! And it was Luke Skywalker, and it was fantastic. And there is subsequently, since then, which is something that I think is just so perfectly captures how much Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni love Star Wars, is there's a comparison, scene-on-scene comparison of Darth Vader walking down the corridor in Rogue One, chopping up all the rebels, against Luke Skywalker walking out of the lift and going through all the Death Trooper droids. And it's basically, they're not doing the same moves, but it's like the same
similar.
length.
Yeah.
It's very similar, some of the moves they're doing. It's just wonderful. And him turning up was probably, the best thing that happened in 2020 for me. That was the ending to 2020 that I really needed. And if it wasn't that, it was a political thing, which I'm not going to talk about. You go ahead.
Well, in a similar vein, my main award, best all the other stuff that we said, it's kind of wrapped up. It's a few things, but it kind of leans into the same thing that you've said, Ben. So we watched Clone Wars throughout last year, and season 7 of Clone Wars was actually released last year, and it really is the most refined Star Wars TV show ever. I mean, it's better than The Mandalorian. I'm sorry, season 7 of Clone Wars really is. There's a 4-part there's a 4-part storyline at the end of it, and it changes the main title logo. It gives it the 1970s Lucasfilm text. It has this really rich orchestral score. The lightsaber fight in it, and I won't say who it's between. There's a villain and a hero in it. Was in previous episodes they just animated it, but in this one they motion captured it, and it looks superb. And then, and as people will know, in Clone Wars, there's the character Ahsoka, and Ahsoka is just wonderful. And I would say in 2020, we as a household have fallen in love with this character, and so then my kind of award, with all of that context behind it, goes for the live action version of Ahsoka in The Mandalorian season 2. So yes, Luke Skywalker was amazing, and I totally agree. But seeing Ahsoka in live action with her white lightsabers and just kicking butt, and that episode was just it was fantastic TV, wonderful TV. So yeah, for me it's kind of Ahsoka in all her forms across 2020, and then with a little bit of a subtitle, thanks Dave Filoni. Yeah. So Ben, go on.
Just to say that Imaginary Worlds has an episode all about Ahsoka Tano, which is well worth listening to. There you go. Just little bit more of a reason to listen to the Imaginary Worlds podcast. There you go.
So that's mine. And JB, what's your final main award?
Well, so I'm gonna sum up everything about what I guess what both of you have said, and just say The Mandalorian was outstanding TV. In a lockdown, or whether we're not in a lockdown, just the whole second season was fantastic. You know, twists and turns, surprises. You know, again, obviously Nate, you've just mentioned about your link into Clone Wars and Ahsoka like that, but you don't need to know that, but now
Absolutely.
you do. But now you do know that. It's like in my head, because the youngest is really into like watching cartoons and things like this, and we've spoken before on podcasts. I think Ben has mentioned that maybe Clone Wars isn't quite the right time for her age group, but I'm super looking forward to being able to just watch it with her, because I think she would find it really interesting. But I just think that just The Mandalorian had everything that I like in Star Wars. And you're right, like John and Dave, they know their stuff, don't they? They do know their stuff, and
yeah, they do.
The essence is there, and I think the essence is there, but it's not been in some of the movies, the big screen, and they've just captured it. And it wouldn't be surprised. Could you see another Star Wars trilogy or something big movie wise that they're going to produce and follow on? I don't know, maybe, but they would smash it. They would absolutely smash it.
Well, also they've opened the doors for loads of other series now, haven't they? So we've had this Disney announcement where we know we're getting Rangers of the New Republic, which is going to be, characters from Mandalorian season 1 and 2, and we're getting an Ahsoka series, and we're getting a Book of Boba Fett, and so you're right. Like, knowing that they are doing it just makes everything feel so like warm and fuzzy. It's that waterbed again.
It really is, mate. And you just there's, I don't know, that the people that I speak to who are Star Wars fans and haven't watched The Mandalorian, I'm like, what? Oh yeah, we don't have Disney Plus. I'm like, just get it. for this thing, and then come back, and I've seen them like 2 or 3 days later, and they've just gone, oh my god, I've just watched The Mandalorian. You're right, this is awesome. It's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable TV. I mean, right up there with like groundbreaking type of like with Watchmen that we've talked about many times before. It's just top of the shelf, you know.
And
Hey, everyone should.
Lovely that we unanimously all agreed on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, JB, did your laptop just fall over?
Yes, it did.
I was just going to say to everyone, hey, you should go and check out our season 2 review of The Mandalorian. I'll link it in the episode notes. Boom, boom, boom.
we are self-promoting.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's been nearly 2 hours of podcasting there. Ben, where can people get hold of us and tell us to shut the hell up and stop talking so much? Or alternatively, this is something I would really love, is people to give us their nerdies of 2020.
Oh, what a great shout that is. A great shout that is.
I would love that, Nathan and James. I would love people to tell us what their biggest surprise, biggest disappointment, best thing, worst thing, and their main award of 2020 Nerdies Awards were. And they can get hold of us on Instagram and Facebook, on Twitter. Just search for Nerds Chatting, you'll find us. They can send us an email, nerdschatting@outlook.com. And they can download this podcast and all the other podcasts from all of our podcast channels, which are nerdschatting.podbean.com, Spotify, YouTube. Just search for Nerds Chatting. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and other podcast hosting. Just give us a search. You'll find. Just Google Nerds Chatting. You'll find us. We're out there. And please let us know what your Nerdies Awards are for 2020.
Yeah.
And I have absolutely no idea what we're doing on the next episode, but let's say it's something really fun and clever, and you'll be really entertained.
Well,
which is pretty much, Ben, that's pretty much what we always do, isn't it?
Yes, of course. Weren't we going to watch some films, Nathan? Weren't we going to do a trilogy of films?
Yeah.
We'll
figure that out. Don't know. We'll figure that out.
Okay, cool.
And then we'll tell everyone on the subject.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah.
That's what it was going to be.
Yeah.
Was it?
Good. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.